You're watching the Weiss channel. So, last week we did square roots and simplifying square roots. For example, square root of 128. What perfect square goes into 128? Well, 64 goes into 128. 64 times 2 is 128. So the square root of 128 is equal to the square root of 64 times the square root of 2. The square root of 64 is 8. So your answer would be 8 square root of 2. That's for square roots, but today we're going to do cube roots. Cube root of 1 is 1. Cube root of 8 is 2. Cube root of 27 is 3. Cube root of 64 is 4. Cube root of 125 is 5. Cube root of 216 is 6. Cube root of 343 is 7. Cube root of 512 is 8. Cube root of 729 is 9. And the cube root of 1,000 is 10. Okay? So one type of problem you'll see is, what's the cube root of 729? Oh, well, the cube root of 729 is 9. So that's your answer. What's the cube root of 2179? Now, if you go to your regular phone calculator, you'll see that there is a button like this. Cube root of x. Just type in 2197 and hit this button and it'll give you 13. Okay. Here, the cube root of 256, now we have to break it down. Break it down. All right. Well, what cube root goes into 256? Well, 64 goes into 256. 256 is 64 times 4. Okay, so what's the cube root of 64? 4. So your answer will be 4, cube root of 4. Now in your Delta Math assignment today, there's 2 buttons at the bottom. One button is a cube root button. The other is an nth root button. Well, you don't need the nth root button if you're going to be doing cube roots today. But they put it in there. Okay, you're only going to use that button today. All right, what's the cube root of 432? What cube root goes evenly into 432? 216. The cube root of 216 is, first of all, 216 times 2 is 432. And the cube root of 216 is 6. So your answer is 6 cube root of 2. Okay. Now, the square root of x is the same as saying x to the 1/2 power, because there's a 2 in there. If there's no number, it's automatically assumed to be a 2. So this is a 1, which means it's always the same. The square root is the same as saying x to the 1/2 power. The square root of m to the 7th is the same as saying m to the 7/2. The 4th root of a to the 3rd is the same as saying a to the 3/4. Okay, so if I say what's the cube root of n to the 24th, that's n to the 24/3. But what is 24 divided by 3? 24 divided by 3 is 8, so it's n to the 8th. The cube root of y to the 51st power, that's y to the 51/3. What's 51 divided by 3? 17, so your answer is y to the 17. Okay, but here, what's h to what power? This is h to the 13/3. Does 3 evenly go into 13? No. So guess what? You're done. Just leave it. H to the 13 over 3. Over here, R to the what power? R to the 71 over 3. Guess what? You're done. You've been watching the Weiss channel. Dat.